Okay, so you know how it is standing in the wine aisle, just overwhelmed by like all the choices?
Oh, yeah.
Cabernet, Pinot Noir, Sauvignon Blanc. I mean, it's enough to make you just grab the nearest juice box.
Right.
But what if I told you that there's a way to discover amazing wines, like without all that overwhelm?
I am all ears.
Well, that's what we're looking at today.
Go.
Personalized wine subscription services.
Yeah, it's like having a sommelier in your pocket, basically.
Yeah.
These services curate this whole wine experience tailored to like your own taste.
Yeah.
How does that actually work?
Right.
We have an article here that breaks it all down.
Yeah, the first thing that kind of caught my eye was this whole taste profiling thing.
Oh.
Sounds super high tech.
It does?
Do I need to get my taste buds like scanned or something?
Well, not quite, although some services will have you like swirl and sniff through a virtual tasting.
Oh,
A
wow.
lot of them actually just rely on good old-fashioned questionnaires.
Okay.
They'll ask, about your favorite varietals, the sweetness levels you prefer, whether you crave a crisp, dry white or something more lush and fruity.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll even go into what kind of flavors you gravitate towards, like earthy, oaky, or even floral notes.
So it's about painting a picture of your palate.
Exactly.
But then the article goes on to mention algorithms and AI.
Right.
It's starting to sound a little bit more like science fiction here.
Well, that's where the magic happens.
Okay.
Some of these services are using these really sophisticated algorithms to analyze your responses and match them to wines from their inventory.
Okay.
Think of it like a vast database of wines, each one tagged with these specific flavor profiles and characteristics, and then the algorithm plays matchmaker,
Huh.
connecting you with bottles that align with your preferences.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So does that mean I'm going to be stuck with the same types of wine forever?
Not necessarily.
What if I want to like branch out or discover something new?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. A lot of these algorithms aren't static. They actually learn and evolve as you give feedback on the wines that you receive.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, if you're consistently giving high ratings to a bolder Malbec,
Mm-hmm.
the algorithm might then suggest that you explore other full-bodied reds,
Uh-huh.
like Cabernet Sauvignon or even a Shiraz.
So it's like this wine adventure that unfolds over time.
Exactly.
That's a lot more appealing than me like desperately Googling wine that tastes like sunshine in the middle of the grocery store.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this whole tailored approach also extends to the subscription boxes themselves.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't believe the variety that's out there.
Really?
Some boxes are actually designed for complete beginners,
Okay.
introducing you to the fundamentals of wine appreciation
That's okay.
with approachable, easy drinking selections.
So for people who are still kind of figuring out their, wine legs, so to speak.
Exactly. Then you have boxes that are specifically for those more experienced connoisseurs, offering, rare vintages
Yeah.
or limited edition bottles that you would be really hard-pressed to find on your own.
Oh, wow. And what about the adventure seekers?
Yes,
Are there boxes for people who want to go beyond the usual Chardonnay and Merlot?
absolutely.
Okay.
Think of it as like a passport to uncharted wine territory.
Okay.
These boxes specialize in really unique and lesser-known varietals.
Okay.
Wines from those off-the-beaten-path regions.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you'll discover, hidden gem from a small family vineyard in Portugal,
Yeah.
or a vibrant blend from a rising star winemaker in Chile.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to really expand your horizons
Mm-hmm.
and discover wines you didn't even know existed.
That definitely appeals to my inner explorer.
Yes.
But the article also mentioned that a lot of these services go beyond just sending you a box of wine.
Right.
There's this whole educational component as well.
Yes.
Is it like getting a crash course in wine appreciation with every delivery?
It really is. It's like having a virtual sommelier at your fingertips.
Wow.
A lot of these subscriptions include detailed tasting notes.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll guide you through the nuances of each bottle.
Uh-huh.
They break down the flavor profile,
Okay.
suggest ideal food pairings,
Oh, nice.
and even share stories about the wineries themselves and the winemaking process.
So it's not just about drinking the wine, it's about like understanding and appreciating it on a deeper level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some services even take it a step further by adding on this additional online content.
Oh, really?
So think, video tutorials, webinars with wine experts, or even access to exclusive online communities
Sure.
where you can connect with other subscribers and, share your own wine discoveries.
That's pretty cool. It's like turning your living room into a personal wine tasting experience,
Right.
complete with expert insights and a community of fellow enthusiasts.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Speaking of being conscious of our choices, the article mentions something about sustainability. Is that a big focus for these wine subscription services?
It's becoming increasingly important both for consumers and for the industry as a whole.
Okay.
And a lot of these services are now partnering with wineries that prioritize sustainable practices,
Hmm.
from organic or biodynamic farming to, water conservation and renewable energy use.
So you can enjoy your favorite Cabernet while feeling good about the environmental impact?
Absolutely, it's a win-win.
Right.
And a lot of services are taking it even a step further with their packaging choices.
Mm-hmm.
They're using recycled materials, trying to minimize waste, and even incorporating reusable elements into the boxes themselves.
So we've talked about the taste matching the different types of boxes, the
Mhm.
educational aspect, and the sustainability efforts.
Right.
But what about the business side of things?
Okay.
How do these wine subscription services actually operate?
Well, it's a fascinating blend of passion for wine
Okay.
and very savvy business strategy. The first thing they have to do is identify their niche. Are they going to focus on premium high-end wines or affordable everyday options,
Mm-hmm.
wines from a specific region,
Right.
or with a particular focus like organic or natural wines?
So they're not just throwing darts at a map of wine regions.
No, they're not.
They're strategically choosing their lane to stand out in a crowded market.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then it's all about building those really strong relationships with the wineries.
Okay.
These partnerships are crucial for securing, a diverse selection of high-quality wines,
Hmm.
negotiating favorable pricing, and sometimes even getting exclusive offerings for their subscribers.
That makes sense. And I imagine there's some logistical hurdles to overcome, especially when it comes to shipping alcohol.
You are absolutely right.
Yeah.
They have to navigate, this complex web of regulations and ensure that everything is being done legally and responsibly.
So it's a delicate dance of passion logistics and legal compliance.
You could say that.
Okay.
And of course, we can't forget about marketing. These companies are using a variety of strategies to reach new customers, from eye-catching social media campaigns
Mm-hmm.
to collaborations with influencers and content marketing
Yeah.
that, educates and entertains wine lovers.
Ah, yes. Those unboxing videos on social media always make it look so fun and exciting.
Yes.
I'm sure that plays a big role in getting people to hit that subscribe button.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
And then there's email marketing campaigns, referral programs, partnerships with restaurants or events.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole ecosystem designed to bring those bottles right to your doorstep.
It sounds like there's a lot more to it than I initially realized.
Yeah.
So far, we focused on the positive aspects, but I am curious, are there any potential downsides or drawbacks to using these services?
That's a great question. And it's important to acknowledge that no service is perfect.
Okay.
One potential concern is the reliance on algorithms. While they can be incredibly effective at, matching you with wines that you'll enjoy,
Mm.
there's always a risk that you might miss out on something that you would love simply because it didn't fit your initial profile.
So it's a trade-off between personalized recommendations and serendipitous discovery.
Exactly.
Okay.
Another potential drawback is the limited selection.
Okay.
While a lot of services boast, these vast inventories,
Right.
these still only represent a fraction of the wines that are available worldwide.
That's true. You're not browsing the aisles of a massive wine shop, so there's a chance you might not find that super specific, obscure bottle that you're looking for.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And then there's the question of pricing.
Okay.
While some services offer great value, others can be quite expensive, especially if you opt for those higher end or more frequent deliveries.
Yeah.
So it's important to factor that into your decision and find a service that aligns with your budget.
So it's about weighing the convenience and the curated experience against the potential limitations and cost considerations.
Exactly. And ultimately, the best way to determine if a wine subscription service is right for you is to do your research.
Okay.
Read reviews, and maybe even try out a few different options before committing to a long-term subscription.
That's great advice. It's like any new adventure, a little bit of preparation can go a long way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of adventure,
Yes.
let's shift gears and explore some specific examples of these services. I think you'll be surprised by the variety and ingenuity out there.
I'm all ears. Let's uncork some specific examples and see what makes these services stand out. Okay, my wine curiosity is officially piqued. I'm ready to hear about some of these services that are putting their own spin on the personalized wine experience. What are some that stand out to you?
One that's really caught my attention is Vinebox.
Okay.
They've really carved out a niche by focusing on these smaller independent wineries, often with this commitment to organic or biodynamic practices, which, by the way, means they're taking extra care with the environment and avoiding harsh chemicals in their vineyards.
Oh. So it's like supporting small businesses and sustainable practices all in one sip.
Exactly.
I like that.
And their subscription model is a bit different.
Oh, okay. How so?
They send these quarterly boxes with 9 single-serving bottles of wine.
Oh, wow.
Like a fun way to try a variety of wines without committing to full bottles.
That's perfect for someone like me who gets decision fatigue just looking at a wine list.
Exactly.
But what about those of us who already know our Pinot Grigio from our Pinot Noir?
Right.
Are their services geared toward more seasoned wine drinkers?
Absolutely. Wink is a great example.
Okay.
They've got this really sophisticated taste profiling system that not only considers your preferences, but also factors in your level of wine knowledge and experience.
Oh, wow. So they're not just recommending wines you'll like, but wines that are also appropriate for your palate and your understanding of the nuances of wine.
You got it. And they offer a really diverse selection of wines, including some premium and hard-to-find bottles that would make any wine enthusiast swoon.
Now, you mentioned those adventurous boxes earlier, the ones that take you off the beaten path.
Yeah.
Any specific examples come to mind?
Oh, definitely. There's this service called Usual Wines
Okay.
that's really shaken things up.
Okay.
They specialize in these single-serving bottles of high-quality wine from lesser-known regions
Okay.
and unique grape varietals.
Interesting.
You might discover a Slovenian wine made with the Ochimetna Rurna grape, for example.
Now you're just showing off your wine knowledge.
Maybe a little.
But seriously, that sounds like a great way to break out of a wine rut.
Exactly. It's about pushing those boundaries
Yeah.
and experiencing something truly unique. Speaking of pushing boundaries,
Yeah.
there's another service, Bright Cellars,
Okay.
that's using AI in a fascinating way.
Okay.
They've developed an algorithm that analyzes your taste preferences and recommends wines that are statistically similar to wines you've enjoyed in the past.
It's like a wine matchmaker that predicts your future loves.
That's a great way to put it. It's a very data-driven approach that can lead to some really exciting discoveries.
This is making me realize how much I don't know about wine. Are there any services that really doubled down on the educational aspect for those of us who are still learning?
Absolutely. Wine Folly is a fantastic example.
Okay.
They're known for their incredibly detailed and informative tasting notes.
Okay.
They don't just tell you what the wine tastes like, but they break down the region, the grape varietal, and even the winemaking process.
So it's like getting a mini wine lesson with every bottle.
Exactly. And they offer a ton of free online resources as well, like articles, videos, and even a wine pairing app.
Oh, wow.
They're really invested in making wine accessible and enjoyable for everyone.
I'm starting to feel like I could actually hold my own in a conversation about tannins and terroir. Now, okay, let's talk practicality for a moment. How much do these services typically cost?
Okay.
Is this a luxury experience, or can the average wine lover get in on the action?
That's a great question, and it's one of the most important factors to consider. Right. The price can vary quite a bit depending on the service, the types of wines offered, and how often you want to receive deliveries. But you can find subscriptions starting around $40, $50 a month for a box of 2 or 3 bottles.
So it's not necessarily a budget breaker, especially considering you're getting hand-picked wines delivered right to your door.
Right. And remember, you're not just paying for the wine itself.
Yeah.
You're paying for the convenience, the curation, and the educational element.
But I'm guessing there are also options for those who are looking for a more premium experience, maybe with some rarer or higher-end bottles.
Absolutely. Some subscriptions can go up to $100 or more per month for a selection of those more sought-after wines.
Okay, so there's really a service for every budget and every level of wine enthusiast. What would you say is the biggest benefit of taking the plunge and subscribing to one of these services?
For me, it's the element of discovery.
Okay.
These services open up this world of wine that you might never have explored otherwise. It's a chance to expand your palate,
Right.
try new things, and maybe even discover your new favorite bottle.
I love that it's like having a personal sommelier curating a selection just for you, guiding you through the vast and sometimes intimidating world of wine.
Exactly. And let's be honest, it takes the guesswork out of wine shopping.
Oh, absolutely.
No more staring at endless rows of bottles wondering what to choose.
I can relate to that. Sometimes I end up just grabbing the bottle with the prettiest label.
Right. Beyond the convenience and the discovery,
Yeah,
there's also that element of personalization that you just can't get at a traditional wine store.
right. It's like they're creating a unique wine journey tailored to your individual taste preferences, your level of knowledge, and even your dietary considerations.
Exactly. They're taking the time to understand you as a wine drinker and curate an experience that's truly your own.
It's amazing how far this industry has come in terms of personalization and convenience.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, the business side of things. We've talked about how these services benefit consumers, but what about the impact on the wine industry itself?
That's a great point. These services are actually having a significant impact on the wine industry, both in positive and potentially challenging ways. For one, they're providing a valuable platform for smaller, independent wineries to reach a wider audience.
So they're helping to level the playing field, so to speak.
Exactly.
Giving these lesser-known wineries a chance to shine.
Exactly. And they're also driving innovation within the industry.
Okay.
These subscription services are constantly pushing the boundaries of personalization, using technology in new ways, and creating new experiences for wine lovers.
It's like they're injecting a dose of creativity and fresh thinking into a world that can sometimes feel a bit traditional or even stuck in its ways.
You could say that, but it's not all rosy, of course.
Okay.
There are some concerns about the potential impact on traditional wine retailers and distributors.
So this disruption is causing some ripples.
It is some argue that these subscription services are taking away business from local wine shops and disrupting established distribution channels.
That makes sense. It's like any industry that's being transformed by technology, there are going to be winners and losers, and the landscape is going to shift.
Exactly. It'll be interesting to see how these dynamics play out in the long run and how the wine industry adapts to this evolving consumer landscape.
I have a feeling this is just the beginning of the personalized wine revolution.
I think you're right, and it's an exciting time to be a part of it, both as a consumer and as an observer of this dynamic industry.
Well, I've officially gone from feeling overwhelmed by wine to feeling completely fascinated by it.
That's the power of a good deep dive.
It certainly is. And speaking of diving deeper, are there any other aspects of this world we haven't explored yet?
Actually, there's one more trend I think is worth highlighting, and it's not just about individual consumers anymore.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, the article mentions this growing number of businesses that are using personalized wine subscriptions for corporate gifting.
That's a brilliant idea. It's so much more thoughtful and unique than the usual fruit basket or company-branded swag.
Exactly, and it shows that you've put some thought into it.
Yeah.
And it allows you to introduce clients or employees to new wines they might not have discovered otherwise.
It's like building relationships and creating memorable experiences all through the power of wine.
Precisely, and it opens up this whole new market for these subscription services beyond the individual consumer.
So it's a win-win for everyone involved. The businesses get a unique and thoughtful gifting option. The subscription services gain new customers, and the recipients get to enjoy delicious curated wines.
Exactly. It's a great example of how this industry is constantly evolving and finding new ways to connect people with the world of wine.
Okay. I'm officially convinced that this is a trend worth paying attention to. But before we get too carried away, maybe we should give our listener a moment to process all this wine wisdom.
That's a good idea. We've covered a lot of ground, and I'm sure there are plenty of delicious insights for our listener to savor.
We'll be back in a moment to wrap things up and leave you with some final thoughts to ponder as you embark on your own wine adventures. All right, we are back, and I gotta say, I am so ready to swap my usual grocery store scramble for a curated wine adventure.
Right. That's the beauty of these services. They just make exploring the world of wine so much more approachable and enjoyable.
Yeah, we've talked about the personalized recommendations, the variety of boxes, and even that educational aspect. But I'm curious, what's next for these services? Is there anything in the article that hints at future trends or innovations?
There is, and this is where it gets really exciting.
Yeah.
The article mentions the potential for even more sophisticated personalization, driven by advances in artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Imagine a service that not only knows your taste preferences,
Right.
but also takes into account things like your mood,
Oh, what?
the occasion, or even the weather.
So it's like having a virtual sommelier who knows exactly what you need even before you do.
Exactly. They might suggest a light and refreshing rosé for a sunny picnic, or a bold Cabernet Sauvignon for a cozy night by the fire,
Yeah.
or even a sparkling wine to celebrate a special occasion. The possibilities are endless.
That's amazing. I can see how that would elevate the whole experience, but what about the human element?
Yeah.
Will we all be relying on algorithms to guide our wine choices in the future?
That's a great question. And I think it's important to remember that technology is only one part of the equation.
Okay.
While algorithms can be incredibly helpful in, narrowing down those choices and making recommendations, I believe there will always be a need for human expertise and passion in the world of wine.
So it's about finding that balance between the efficiency of technology and the artistry of human curation.
Exactly. Think about those tasting notes we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
While an algorithm can analyze a wine's chemical composition and predict its flavor profile, it's a human being who can truly capture the essence of that wine, its story and its unique character.
It's like the difference between reading a technical description of a painting and actually experiencing the emotions it evokes.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And it's why I believe we'll see a rise in those hybrid models that combine the power of AI with the expertise of sommeliers and wine educators.
So instead of replacing human expertise, technology will actually enhance it.
That's the idea. Imagine a service where you can chat with a real sommelier.
Wow.
Through a video call.
Okay.
Discuss your preferences.
Yeah.
And get personalized recommendations tailored to your specific needs and occasion.
That's a really cool concept. It's like having your own personal wine consultant on call.
Exactly. And this could also extend to like virtual or even augmented reality experiences.
Really?
Imagine being able to put on a headset and virtually tour a vineyard.
Oh, wow.
Meet the winemaker, or even participate in a virtual tasting with other wine enthusiasts from around the world.
That's incredible. It's like bringing the world of wine right into your living room. It's making me realize that we've only just scratched the surface of what's possible.
I completely agree. And I think that's what makes this industry so exciting. It's constantly evolving, innovating, and finding new ways to connect people with the joy of wine.
Well, I'm definitely raising a glass to that. I think we've uncorked all the knowledge we can about personalized wine subscription services in this deep dive.
I think so, too. We've explored the personalization process, the different types of boxes, the educational benefits, the sustainability efforts, the business strategies, and even the exciting possibilities that lie ahead.
I'm feeling inspired to embark on my own wine adventure. So what's the one key takeaway you want our listener to remember as they consider like dipping their toes into the world of wine subscriptions?
I think the most important thing to remember is that these services are about so much more than just getting wine delivered to your doorstep.
Okay.
They're about discovery, education, convenience, and connection. They're about expanding your palate, deepening your appreciation for wine, and supporting businesses that are truly passionate about what they do.
Beautifully put, and I think that's a perfect note to end on. So to our listener, we encourage you to raise a glass to the world of personalized wine subscription services.
Cheers.
Who knows, your next favorite bottle might be just a click away.
That's right.
And as always, we'll include links to some of the services we discussed in the show notes so you can start exploring right away. Until next time, happy sipping.